The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Paige and Paige Clark.
Well, good morning. I'm Paige Clark. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, and wild world.
To recover our natural health and regains our rights and freedoms. I'm Nico Paige. Good morning.
And it's a beautiful day today. It's 77 degrees, nice and cool. We're kind of getting a little reprieve from the heat. For many of us, still don't have power, and we're sorry to say that, but we know that all the linesmen are working very hard to restore the power.
A lot of trucks out there, that's for sure. Yeah.
You can subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter, 2 issues a month, $10 a month. Gets it right into your inbox with clickable links to all the news that you can use to stay healthier, wealthier.
Oh, yeah, especially when you're trading. You need all that good karma. And, of course, folks, the Primal Edge, $89, it gets to your door every single month. This is something you need to stay healthy. Over 310 organic, cell-ready liquid ingredients, all powered by nature's preferred delivery system, which
Fulvic
is called...
and Humix.
Exactly.
And so, guys, we're taking your phone calls. Give us a call at 877-927-6648.
Yeah, probably not too many people in Florida be calling today, since we're a lot in the dark here.
That's true. Still a lot of people not pulled together. So how did it go for you, Nico?
That was interesting, that's for sure. Thursday, of course, we're getting ready for the storm. I started putting things up, and I have some pictures here. So this is the front of the house.
Yep. Good storm shutters.
And the back of the house.
Yeah, because you have that big sunroom. Those are great. Yep.
Yeah, and then the last thing, of course,
was a little Scotch whiskey, huh?
Yeah. So it was interesting mainly because at first we had a call from a couple of our friends of ours down in Marathon that we just visited, and they said they were probably going to come up and stay with us.
Probably a good thing they did, because that was one of the areas.
The next day, Friday morning, we got news that they were going to go to Key West because it looked like the storm was going more east. So it was Friday morning when we got the panic call. No, we're coming up to see you guys. We're not crazy. So that was a smart thing for them to do.
And they did get there.
They got here, yeah.
Oh, good.
They got here Friday, and I think it was Saturday. We went out to eat and got ready. I think the storm came, Sunday? Yeah.
I've kind of lost track of days, haven't you?
Yeah, so we had them, and they had a little puppy, a little dog, small dog.
Yeah, we had the multi-generational, multi-species house as well.
Well, then the morning of Sunday, or maybe it was Saturday, everything's running together, of course, we have some friends of ours that live down near the beach.
Yes.
So they called and asked. She says, okay, if we come by and we have a little dog also. I said, sure, why not? You're not going to turn anybody down. That's what friends are for. Of course, we have a generator, which is really cool. We installed that a couple of years ago, running on propane. I got 2 huge tanks out there. So
I think you were telling us last show that if you watched it and controlled your space a little bit, you could probably run for a month on the tanks you have.
Yeah, maybe not that long, but we've been running now. It was about 80% full. We've been running full blast, pretty much. AC, of course, and little TV, and of course all our wireless stuff, and an occasional light here and there. And it's about down about 45%. So we probably have a few more days. I tried to call the propane company. Of course, the lines are all busy and everything. So luckily, it's just down the street from me. So I drove a couple of miles, and there in the yard was a guy working. I said, hey, how's it going? I says, I'm not an emergency or anything like that, but my wife would feel a lot more comfortable if you came back and filled up those tanks by, say, Friday. And he said, oh, yeah. He wrote it down on his phone, and he says, we'll be there. For sure.
Nice.
So that means that even if the lights don't come on next week, we have enough.
You're set.
We're all set, which is a big blessing because the whole neighborhood is dark. All of Bel Air is dark, completely dark.
Now, I was very lucky. We did not lose power at all.
That's what you were saying, yeah. That's great.
I think we had one flicker. But we actually part of my household left and went to Innisbrook to a condo that kind of had like a fortress type of look, less glass, because my house is probably about 60 windows. It's all open on the back side. And the way the winds were coming, we were concerned about it, and we did not have hurricane shutters, but I imagine we probably will soon. At least, at least fortify a part of your house so that you can hunker in and know that.
Well, if the windows are breached, that's when the roof comes off.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's
Just
a
go
beautiful
straight
thing.
up.
The other thing that happened, of course, the couple that are staying with us, they were wondering, what do we come home to? They're in Marathon, which is one of the biggest hit areas. So they were on Facebook, they're on everything, trying to get information. And then yesterday, somebody sent them a picture of the house, an aerial view, and their roof is on. And they have one of these great structures that is about 16 feet in the air on pillars, everything rebarred. And they had to put up the shutters on all the windows and everything like that. And they looked, their shed was still there. So they had a water intrusion of probably 3 to 5 feet, but that just kind of swept.
Into the home?
No, not into the home, because the home is 16 feet high.
Oh, yeah, they've got it raised.
Yeah, so I think they're pretty lucky, and they plan on leaving tomorrow morning. They've got a place to stay in Fort Myers, a hotel, for a couple of days until they get permission to go back.
Yeah, that's the big thing. So many of the people that live on the Keys have not been able to even get to their homes.
Well, not only that, they need provisions beforehand, before they get there, because all the provisions are being used by the first responders and people that are rescuing people. Right. So there is no food for the inhabitants of the Keys at all. They have to sustain themselves, and that's what they've been told, and that's exactly what FEMA says. We're not feeding you. We're going to rescue you. If you don't need rescuing, then you have to take care of yourself. And that's what we have to do. And that's why preparing, folks, is such a big key. You know, we had enough, I got enough food for about 3 months as far as storage food, canned foods and things like that, dried foods. We had enough stuff for us for a couple of weeks, the fresh food. But then we had guests, of course, and that stuff starts to go fast.
And that's the whole thing. You know, when you're preparing, you've got to realize there are going to be those that don't.
Yep.
Loved ones or friends or whatever. And that was one of the things we were discussing last week with that one guy. How do you draw that line of how you know, or do you draw a line? We never did really get to his discussion of that, but the reality is you need to be over-prepared because there's always people that don't.
Yeah, definitely in Florida, you need to cover your windows up. That's a no-brainer. I think I'm interested to see how many of my neighbors are going to get the whole house generator like I have, because I'm the only one in the neighborhood that's got any lights going at all. And the old machine is out there puttering all day long, and it's a beautiful thing. And with AC, things are much more tolerable. Of course, when you have people in your house, that changes the whole dynamics of things. Stress levels go up a little bit.
Right.
We've been lucky. These friends are really cool, and we're doing really good. And the other couple, of course, left the day after, so we still have them, you know. And so, you know, it is what it is. I want to remind people, of course, not to pick up the Abalure, but instead, why don't you go to the website right now and pick up the Primal Edge, because that's really what you need. And I've been double dosing on that and my aminos, and that's really what helps me keep nice and calm and keep my head and not to be too stressed out. So I think that's important. If you'd like to give us a call and to tell us about your experience with Irma, if you have the ability to do so, you can call us at 877-927-6648 and
we'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Last time I showed these pictures, I didn't have the telestrator up in the chat room, so this is the front of the house and the rear of the house, and of course the Abalur. So I did take some videos. You know, one thing, we were kind of lucky because it wasn't really that bad. I don't know if this video will play. Maybe it won't play.
It's still interesting, though. If you listen to the news, you'd think it was. It's kind of like I said. They said that strongest gusts were heard in Bel Air, which is right where you are. Mm-hmm. And to me, I didn't see any wind that looked as high as what they said, 113 miles per hour.
Most of it for our house, I was sitting on the front porch because that's fond memories of sitting on the front porch with my dad watching lightning storms and watching the snowfall and things like that up in Canada.
So you were actually outside?
Yeah, we periodically, just to go outside, to reduce your stress a little bit, get that nice fresh air that's coming in, which is beautiful.
Ozone.
Lots of ozone. And then hearing the wind and that, and pretty much it was coming down the block. You could hear it like a little freight train, and then it would ease off. So we didn't really get the sustained winds of a Cat 2. And, you know, when we were looking at the TV on Saturday, it was a Cat 4 coming our way, and it was predicted to be a Cat 4. It's funny about predictions, you know, things like that. They were wrong on so many counts, but, you know, they had warned us that it would probably come up the West Coast instead of the East Coast. And I had been following this guy for a while. Let me see if I can find him. Yeah. This is, the site is called globalweatheroscillations.com. And last February, he predicted this storm. And most of the things he predicts about 2 years in advance. But he did predict this storm last February. He was talking about a Cat 4 that was going to skirt Cuba, go right through the Keys and come up the west side through Naples and Fort Myers and hit just east of Tampa. I mean, just the way it comes. So it's kind of an interesting site. He talks a lot about the different type of climate that we're going into, and it's pretty interesting to do that. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, so everything changed. We were really ready for that hurricane force winds at 140 miles an hour coming to our house. Thank goodness it didn't come because we had enough damage. I had a lot of damage. Like
I saw your fence. And
yeah, the fence came down, old fence, maybe 17, 18 years old. So I expected that. In fact, my wife all summer long, when are you going to get that fence fixed? I said, well, after hurricane season is when that happens.
Yeah.
So we're looking to have our neighbors help us, get some of the fence together and things like that. A lot of small branches. Of course, when you prune your trees, what happens is all the small branches come down. And
It's like a cleansing.
It is a cleansing, and if you don't prune your trees, then it's usually the tree that comes down. So
Right.
there's the difference, and the reason we constantly in Florida are either in the spring or the fall, or a lot of times both, we'll prune those trees and make sure that the wind can go through there and carry it out.
That's a true point.
Other than that, of course, I'm 62 feet high. In the
You're the Bel Air Bluffs, Bel Air area is like one of the highest points on the water side.
In fact, we stored the extra cars that we couldn't put in the garage. We went up to the TFNN garage back behind our building here and put the cars in. And one car we couldn't get in because by the time he decided that we were going to do this, the place was packed, jammed.
I'm sure.
You couldn't even get in there.
Yeah.
So people were smart doing that. The other thing we did is we looked at restaurants that were open a certain times so we wouldn't diminish our supplies. And the Rumba up on 60, Frank was in there, Frank Chevis, who owns the place. And I was talking to him a little bit, and he mentioned that, we're going to stay open. I got propane tanks, he says, and we're going to feed all the first responders for nothing. And all our employees who don't have a safe place can stay here and sleep here. So great guy. He owns a dozen restaurants probably in the area, and they're all closed now because of the
power being off.
But the Clear Lake or Clear Sky, that was open yesterday, so we went and had a bite there. It's the first time we've been there. Beautiful place. Food was awesome. So and there was another restaurant, Miller's Ale House down in Seminole, that was open the night after, just for a couple hours with a real limited menu, and they just opened for like 2.5 hours, and we went down there and got something and had a couple of beers, and that was kind of nice. Those people are really troopers to, go out there and work while everybody else is trying to clean up.
That's true.
And the gal who waited on us looked like maybe 3 or 4 months pregnant. I gave her a little extra tip. I says, man, thanks for coming, doing this. So it's kind of cool. People really do come together. Got to talk to a lot of the neighbors that I normally don't talk to. So I think these things are what bring us together, and that's the reason why I want to discuss this today, is because I think after an event at a tribal level, we would have our stories. And this is how we would entertain. We don't have the TV, we don't have the Wi-Fi, so stories are the thing that used to carry us, and stories that are prevalent today in myths and things like that about the grand solar minimums and about the plagues and about weather change and things like that are the things that still endure. They're still on cave walls. And, these are intrinsically human attributes that go out there and tell your story. And they're really important because I think some of the past stories, like about the grand solar minimums, nobody knows about unless you get on the internet and hear the stories from other people saying, hey, this happened 200 years ago, this happened 400 years ago. This is the same thing that happened during the Roman period, when the Romans were losing it. All these great dynasties of the Chinese dynasties all fell during a grand solar
minimums. Yeah. We have to learn from the past.
That's right. And I still do believe that we're going to a grand solar minimum. I think this is kind of a peak into that with more severe storms. And
what do you think about some of those things? Some people, like that guy Dane, somebody.
I read his stuff, and some of the stuff on this other site that I was talking about discusses some of those things.
For example, there's some people that believe a lot of this weather manipulation is to cover up the global warming situation, whereas what we're saying is, and on the other side of the camp, is that we're actually cooling. There's no need to cover that up. What's the purpose then?
Well, yeah, it's of course, I think there is a lot of spraying going on. We've seen that ourselves.
If you don't understand that they're geoengineering our skies with
in the United States, we have probably 4 or 5 different companies attached to the weather people, and they're seeding clouds and things like that. I just think my personal opinion is that they cannot intensify storms like this. I think the grand solar minimum is doing that for us. Predictions like this guy's site had a year or so in the future. And he's predicting the weather 2 years in the future.
Well, he could be predicting that he knows they're going to manipulate it. Did you see that?
Well, he talks about that on his site and some of the different videos you can get on there.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think that the solar minimum, grand solar minimum, is contributing, but I think that they're also being manipulated. We got a few people or organizations that are really trying to play God with.
Yeah, I just think they're not as powerful as they think, because you talk about the sun. That's a powerful thing. And just we had a couple of X-flares during this hurricane.
We sure did.
Which, at the time that they hit Earth, you could see the hurricane intensifying. So it went from a Cat 2 up to a Cat 4 for about a week, and that's when we got all those solar storms that were hitting our atmosphere. And we saw there's a lot of, you could see the green lightning. So that's extra plasma in our atmosphere. So, you know, I do think there's some modification going on.
There's
but
weather
I think
change.
Yeah.
We've got weather change. The question is, what's it changing to?
Yeah, exactly.
And what's causing it?
Well, we have to be prepared for everything, I think. And the thing to prepare for right now is our little break here. So please pick up our Health Signals newsletter, folks. Got it here someplace. There it is right there. Got a lot of good stuff in there. And pick up a Primal Edge, $89. We'll get it to your door. Really important to be healthy during these times, folks. We'll be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. Nico,
Yep.
we were talking a little bit on the break. Like you said, the grand solar minimum, you feel could be responsible for all of these weather anomalies that we're seeing?
I think so. I think, the sun controls the weather. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And the sun is so powerful that anything us humans can do, I think, pales in comparison. I think that we do cloud seeding and we do spray because we want, if we are of the mind that we are going to a real warm period, we want to cool it down. And one way to do that is create clouds. And by spraying things out and making clouds.
That makes me sick to even think
you got to
that we're doing
remember,
that.
yeah.
You know?
Well, remember that people have been trying to do this because of agriculture, bring more rain because of the crops. That's the reason we need rain. So it has to do with our agriculture, not so much as that we're trying to poison people. That's my belief. It could be wrong. But I think the sun is so much more powerful. One of the things of the X-flares, we had a bunch of them coming in the last 10 days, and X-flares, when they reach our atmosphere.
Tell people what an X-flare is.
An X-flare is from a coronal mass ejection coming out of the sun. It spews a big arm of this plasma out, and that has a lot of effect on our atmosphere. And during a grand solar minimum, we have a smaller atmosphere, so that more of that stuff can get in.
So when we have a grand solar minimum, you would think there would not be these coronal mass ejections.
Well, it does become quiet, but when there is one, that's when we got problems. But there are other things that come from galaxies in space. So these gamma rays and things like that are detrimental to our health, and they do cause the same thing, that cloud forming. That's what happens during a grand solar minimum. So we have much more cloud cover, which means that the rays of the sun are reflected back instead of down on Earth, and the climate kind of cools.
Okay. So the grand solar minimum can be responsible for the cloud formation.
Yeah, and this has been the prediction for the last 10 years that we're going into this, because the last solar high that we had this last 11 years was a much less one. Since 1998, our sun has been slowly going to sleep. So now we're in the downturn. We're going to go back into the upturn, but they think the upturn is going to be kind of flat, and that's when.
Describe what you mean by the upturn.
The upturn meaning that the solar flares that we get to help our atmosphere are less and less. So the sun is going to sleep. We're not going to get as much from the sun.
The sun's going to be quiet.
The sun is going to be
grand solar minimum.
Yeah.
More laid back.
And which means we're going to start getting cooler air, and we're already seeing a much cooler fall than we've seen in the past years, and this is the part of the prediction. So this winter will be rougher in the next few winters, and it'll go into ups and downs and things like that, but for sure the grand solar minimums will be here by 2020. Some people think 2030. It doesn't really matter. It's the next couple of decades that we are going to be hit with much colder weather, especially Northern Europe, which already had in Sweden, I think, or it was Norway, that didn't really have a summer this year.
It's like they never got above Denmark area. Never got above 75 degrees.
I don't even think it got that high. I think it was mostly in the 50s and 60s Fahrenheit. They go by centigrade, but. And I remember when I was a kid, I was skating on the lakes or on the canals in Holland, and they hadn't done that for a long time. And last year, I think everybody was skating again. Everybody brought out their rusty skates, I guess. But, this is something that I've been watching a long time. So I think the grand solar minimum is upon us, and this is part of the reason why we have more powerful storms and probably have more of them, and the winters are going to be rougher. And we'll see if that happens or not. I just think that this is a good wake-up call for us to say, let's get ready, let's prepare, let's get that generator. We spent, I think it cost us...
Or let's move.
Well, yeah, that's another possibility. Where do you move to? If you go north, you got the snow. You go south, you got this. I don't mind these as long as I'm prepared for them. I mean, I look at this whole week as, okay, I want adventure in my life. Here is an adventure that I didn't count on, but I still look at it that way. Because I tell myself, okay, you're going through this, you want to de-stress, you want to be in top physical condition, mental condition for these types of events. So you can get through them, and they're not that bad, and then you can tell the story, which our ancestors did. Yep. And you won't be one of these people, one of these old people who are in their 70s and can't move, and they're in a nursing home, and they die because those people didn't prepare. I think one of the worst things we can do today is rely on other people to do it for us.
That's true.
And that these poor people in the nursing home, who you would think in Florida a nursing home would be by law that you have, and these hospitals, you'd have to have backup systems for this. Not just one, but maybe two. This is my thinking on the whole thing.
Exactly.
So these things shouldn't happen. The couple that are with us, they have a home that structurally is sound. They didn't want to stay in it, and I don't blame them for leaving. But when they go home, at least, they know the roof's on. If they bring enough supplies and start up their generator, they're going to be all right. And, in the Keys, those people, now you need probably, I don't know, 2 weeks do you need? Do you need a month? Do you need 3 months supply? And how do you get that there? So, and they loaded up as much as they could in their little Honda to come up here, things they wanted to save. Now they got all that stuff, and now they have to carry food in. This becomes a kind of mind blower. What do we do? So this shows you what you're made of. These types of things. How you fare through this is how you'll fare through your whole life, I think.
Yeah.
And the other thing that happened, of course, I had a birthday.
I know. I was going to say that you were having your hurricane party, probably drinking some of that scotch whiskey.
It wasn't much of a party. We kind of postponed it. Ellen says, "This is not good birthday you wanted." I said, well, none of the birthdays I wanted, but I embrace them all.
That's right, you embrace them all, because the alternative is you don't have one.
Well, that's true. That's very true. And the other thing is, people have this age thing. You get older. I know I have friends who are in their 50s, and oh my God, I'm in my 50s. I'm 73 now, and I'm thinking, boy, this is great. I can't wait to 74.
I know.
And I think this is the way that you get over things like this, by embracing them and say, hey, I can do this.
Right.
And that's the reason I went to jiu-jitsu and things like that, because I wanted to feel how does it feel to me to be standing in front of somebody that's kind of the same as you are, and you're going to be fighting. I felt that when I was a kid, 15 years old, and that wasn't a very pleasant experience. Through jiu-jitsu, you can do the same thing, but now you can test yourself with one of your buddies who's really trying to kill you, and you're trying to kill him. Not kill, but tap.
Yeah, tap
so
to
it's
win.
the same thing, tap to win. It's an interesting process. And these types of things, like the solar grand minimum, like these hurricanes or earthquakes or whatever, tax you to the limit. And if you come out good and healthy and smiling, you say, man, that was rough, but I did it. That makes you feel good, and that brings you more preparation for the next time, I think. So
but it's
that's
not such a great thing for so many people. So many people weren't. So many people lost their lives.
It's because we rely too much on other people. We rely on FEMA. FEMA's not going to feed you. They'll rescue you. And it's the same with our government. And the other thing I want to talk about was the plans for the new health care. I was reading the paper in the last couple of days that Bernie Sanders is going to come up with this plan for Medicare for everybody. Really good plan. Something that Trump mentioned a couple of years ago. I think would be interesting to see how Trump jumps on this, and maybe he really is a Democrat. Who knows?
So maybe it's, well, I think he's
he
definitely.
Used to be. He's independent, obviously.
I think he's maybe just not categorized. I mean, why do we always have to be categorized?
Well, yeah, that's true.
More
But
of the divide.
if I categorized Trump, I would say nutball. But that's just my own opinion. He was that way before he became president, and now that he's in there, I have to kind of embrace. Yeah, I'm for Trump doing the right thing.
I'm for anybody doing the right thing.
Exactly. So
yeah, me too.
So we got another segment coming up, folks. So stick around. We're just going to be blabbing about this stuff. I think. I don't know if we got anything else planned, but
I have a whole plan, but this is fun. We'll just talk about what's happening.
We'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tom O'Brien has just announced that he'll be coming to Boston September 30th for a free workshop, The Art of Timing the Trade. Join Tom O'Brien Saturday morning, September 30th at the Boston Marriott in Burlington, Massachusetts, as he breaks down his trading methodology and provides you with the tools to become a more successful and profitable trader. Everyone that attends in person will receive a free signed copy of Tom's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. Daryl Martin from Apex Investing Institute will also be presenting for 90 minutes at this free event.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Join me in Boston on September 30th as I return to my hometown for a workshop about the art of timing the trade. I look forward to seeing all the tigers and tigresses for this special free event.
All action starts early at 7:30 a.m. with a continental breakfast and wraps up at about 1 p.m. Topics that Tom will be covering during his presentation include quality volume, cause and effect, ABC structures, swing points, and much, much more. For all the information on this free Boston event taking place Saturday, September 30th, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back to the show. So before the break, we were starting to talk about this Medicare for All plan, which is Bernie Sanders. One of the problems I think we have in this country, the simple system of democracy and capitalism really was, I have a product, you want to buy it from me, and you pay me for what I think it's worth, and you agree. The problem
Free market system.
Yeah, it's kind of a free market system.
I don't know if that's democracy, but...
Well, we don't even have a democracy. We want everybody else to have it, but we have a republic. Mm-hmm. Now we've established, and I think it started with stores like Sears and things, we have the middle person. So somebody else is making it, but this person is selling it. Mm-hmm. So now we've got two people that need extra money. Mm-hmm. But that corporation that's set up now is on the internets and the webs that has stockholders that also want a piece of the action. So we have a lot of people wanting the piece of the action, so that's what drives these prices up. It's much better if you and I can barter locally directly without the middleman. The problem with our health care system, we've got insurance companies and drug companies in the middle between us.
All, correct.
So the type of system that Medicare has set up years and years ago and slowly being added to is a system without those middle people. In other words, no profit. The doctor still gets paid the same or similar, might not be exactly the same. But we don't have somebody else taking a chunk of it.
So, for example, here, Senator Bernie Sanders often points out that the U.S. is the only advanced nation that doesn't offer universal health care for its citizens. Worse, Americans also spend 50% more on medical care. On Wednesday, Bernie Sanders joined 15 other lawmakers in introducing the plan dubbed Medicare for All.
Yeah, and it's not really Medicare for All, but it's a close thing. And what happens is they're going to put this into a system where, say, 55 and up get it the first year, and the children get it up to 18 years old. Mm-hmm. Then the next year they'll phase it down to 45 and above, and the year after 35 and above, and then pretty soon at the fourth year.
Well, 55 and over, everyone 55 and over already has Medicare,
well,
right?
It's actually 67 and up.
Now?
Yeah, unless you come early. But I think I'm not exactly sure of the time, but somewhere around the retirement age of 65, 67, something like that.
Decrease it, okay.
Yeah. So this takes out the middleman, which means that it's going to be a lot less, lot less expensive, because not only is the middleman, but the middleman is keeping our records. I don't want anybody keeping
I
our
don't either.
records. And most of the thing is, Sylvia, who's a physical therapist, and we share space together, half of the work that she does, of course, the first half is paperwork.
Right.
And that she spends just about as much time getting the paperwork, which first of all means checking the insurance and checking with Medicare if it's okay. The second thing is she has to keep track of everything she does with the client, then report it to the insurance company or Medicare.
A lot of wasted energy.
Well, not only that, a lot of times they'll turn it down afterwards. They'll say, yeah, we approved you, but now we're not approved, and sorry, you're out.
Well,
and then she has to write
that's
it
why
off.
I went with the health share.
Yeah.
I went with the health share.
Health share is a great system.
Fantastic. I mean, I don't want the government in my health care.
I don't want government or anything. But this way, with this Medicare plan, government is really not in the business of it. It just pays the doctors and the hospitals. And that's the system that I like. I don't want even the doctors keeping track of me. Give me the file on my hard disk or whatever you have, on my thumb drive, and I'll carry it with me to the next doctor or the same doctor, and all the information is there. I just want to have a doctor that I can rely on and establish a relationship with, and if I have him do procedure on me, fine. I'll have the government pay for that through my taxes.
I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think there's going to be medical records, but...
Well, I think you're right, but
I think
I'm
they're
just...
using the medical records in a nefarious way, getting other information,
Maybe.
denying coverage, etc.
Well, certainly now the insurance companies, we know they're selling our records.
Yeah.
So
developing,
again, for profit.
Here's how other countries provide health coverage. Developed economies achieve universal health care coverage in a number of ways offered by combining financial incentives and penalties. In many of these, the actual delivery of medical care from the doctors, the hospitals, and facilities, it remains private, and private insurance still exists, but this often is lost on America's first learning about single payer. The real issue is when people hear single payer, they hear single provider. Sanders is not proposing a single provider. That's a good clarification.
Well, it's pretty much you pick your doctor, you pick your hospital.
The way it should be.
Of course. Having somebody else that doesn't know you make decisions for you is never a good idea. That's why I don't like federal governments. I don't like state governments. Community governments, I don't mind as much because at least I can go there in person and have a face-to-face with somebody.
Yes.
But for me, the less regulation, the better.
So who would lose? Insurers would lose.
Yeah. And that's the big
too bad,
thing.
so sad.
Well, it's they're a powerful group.
Yeah.
So this is something they have to deal with, and these insurance companies.
Says
some
Sanders' plan, which resembles Canada's health regime more than Switzerland's, would almost certainly make patients' lives easier. It would eliminate private insurers and networks, the source of much frustration, not only for Obamacare enrollees, but any American who has to navigate late payments, been denied care, or faced surprise charges.
Yeah, and being denied care after being approved is the worst. That shouldn't even be lawful, but that's the way it works here. So, and sometimes the patient ends up paying. Sometimes it's the person who gave the care, like Sylvia, that is out the money.
About 21% of every dollar spent on health insurance goes to overhead and profit.
There you go. So you remove that, and I don't think you remove all of it, but you certainly remove a lot of it. And
but for Medicare, the comparable figure is less than 3%.
There you go.
So there you go. It's more efficient.
Yeah.
And I do think having basic care and everything should be kind of like an inalienable right.
I think so.
This kind of coverage. And the way I understand it, you can buy supplements.
Yeah.
And if you want to have maybe
extra coverage,
extra
like
coverage.
Perhaps some cosmetic types of things can be covered because they're certainly not going to cover elective surgery. But they're going to cover the accidental surgery. They're going to cover your general health care, which means taking all the tests and finding out pretty much what's wrong with you, and then you can decide what to do with your doctor, or you can go the natural way like we suggest and do your own research and find natural ways of doing it. There's plenty of natural things you can do. And some of these things may be also covered by Medicare. Some, I know a lot of vitamins and things like that you can get through Medicare. So it's going to be an interesting debate to see how this all works out. But I think it's something that would work in our country, and people will be a lot better off. And the other thing would be, of course, that minimum wage type of thing that everybody can get also. And a lot of countries are talking about that, supplying you with a livable wage so you can do, at least exist And if you want to work and do more and contribute, you can make more money and have a better lifestyle, you can do that too. And I think that's a good way of doing it, because we used to live off the land and nobody took care of us. We took care of ourselves, and there was nobody there taking a piece of the action for us.
Yeah, Chapman Wave says medical records are very inaccurate. Absolutely. One of the things you want to do, and they're making decisions about what kind of care you're going to get.
And I think if you're
and what kind of care you're not going to get by looking at your medical records. You have to make sure your medical records are straight. I always tell people,
and if you're in charge of it, that automatically becomes your burden instead of the doctor's and your expense. So you're going to look at it a lot more carefully to keep that cost down and make sure it's accurate.
well, let me finish. So many people go to the doctors and they say, oh, the doctor said my something or another was high. Well, how do you know? You should keep a copy of your own records. When you have the doctor, those are your reports. You paid for them. Keep your own file so you can compare.
Much easier to do today, too. We'll be right back, folks.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
Welcome back to the show. So we're going to wrap this up a little bit. So the next week or so, cleanup work, de-stressing, getting back to your old routine. I think those things are important. I'm going to jiu-jitsu today for the first time since the storm. I've been wanting to come back. It's just what hasn't been possible. So, so there's still a lot of stress going on because of the cleanup and waiting for the electricity. Thank goodness the water didn't go out for most people, because that's
but I was sharing that information with you. It sounds like we've got. It'll be interesting to see if the newscast picks it up here in your town.
Well, they did have it in the paper this morning.
Yeah, that there's some sewage issues. And we have a friend of ours that did a Facebook post that showed literally it just...
a river of sewage going
right
into the bay.
Right through his yard?
Yeah.
he has a seawall up against the intercoastal waterway, and he documented all of that. And
and we've had that problem quite a few times over the last couple of years, and that's a problem. I mean, these are the things that should be on generators, no doubt about it. Something about I wanted to kind of talk about the basics of the Sanders plan. You know, they calls it single payer, and the only single payer would be, of course, the government. He also calls it Medicare for all, but it's actually
not quite that.
It's actually more, because there'll be no deductibles, there'll be no co-pays, and there'll be no premiums. Private insurance companies won't be involved.
And
they are in Medicare
phasing
now.
it in over time.
Yeah, and it won't extend insurance to all Americans. Also, it'll do it over a 3 or 4 year period, like we said. So they move from lowering it to 55, and then to 45, then to 35, and then everybody. And it'll cover pretty much everything. In fact, it'll expand Medicare more than it ever has. They're talking about a 7.5 payroll tax on employers and a 4% on individual taxes, and that's a heck of a lot less.
That's a heck of a lot less, because it says here that for most companies, their coverage of a single employee is $5,000 a year, or $18,000 for a family plan.
Yeah. So this will help reduce that and still cover everybody. So I think it's a good way to go. We'll see what happens with it, but it's certainly something that we need to be on the lookout for, and maybe tell your senators and your congressmen that you either are for it or against it. So
that's right. That's right.
That's the show today, folks.
Hope you have a wonderful week, and stay dry and stay safe.
Yeah.
And we'll be back. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Oh, I forgot about... Sorry. I forgot about Basil.
Oh, yeah. Something didn't seem right.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.